Hi, my name's Tom Shue, and I'll teach you guys how to make beams of light. Okay, so you can see this is kind of a behind-the-scenes image, and it's really not that flattering. It's used a wide-angle lens. You can see stands and lights and beams and all kinds of things in there, and it looks terrible. But I still wanted to play with it anyways because it's got these two sources of light that I want to turn into beams of light. So I sent it into Photoshop, and let's turn it off. You can see there's the image. So I duplicated the layer and I used the clone stamp tool and I started put piece of stuff in. Then I started copying and pasting. So I made this group of adjustments. You can see here that what they do, they're just basically copy and paste and mask things off. And then I hit it all into a group. Then when I got everything the way I wanted, I made a final image combining everything onto its own layer. Okay, so now that I've got this the way I want, don't be too concerned about seeing the background, because we're going to grab a curves tool and we're just going to take this right hand side of the curves and we're just going to drag it down till it's dark enough to where it kind of hides all that background. Okay, so now since it creates a layer mask for us, we'll just click on the layer mask and we're going to grab our Elliptical Marquee tool. Now there's a couple tricks when you work with this. Since we want to create a round beam of light, I'm going to start up here. Now if you hold down the shift bar, it's going to let you move that selection around the way you want. Okay, so that's just a trick when working with this to move it around. So we're going to start up somewhere in the middle of our mask and go down to our elbow. I'll make kind of a narrow one. And then since I want to rotate it around, I'm going to have to do a free transform. That's Control T or Command T on a Mac. It'll let me rotate this around. I can bring it up just a hair, maybe slide it in, and I want to bring this light source over a little bit, maybe rotate it just a hair more, maybe make it a little bit longer so it encompasses that mask, and let's bring it back just a hair. Okay, so we're going to hit enter because we got it to where we want, and now we're going to make an intersection. We're going to grab the Polygon Lasso tool. Okay, and if you hold down the shift key, the shift key, you'll get a plus sign. So we're going to make our first click there. We're going to select it, and we're going to go all the way up this image. We'll come down this light, and we'll come to the top. And we're going to hit enter. And you see how it just kind of grabs that whole selection and turns it into one. Now, since we're on that mask, if you hit Control I or Command I on a Mac, it will invert it. And it will hide that curves adjustment where we darkened everything so it appears that there's a light beam coming out. Do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to do Control D or Command D on a Mac. And I'm going to make an ellipse tool somewhere around here. I'm going to hold that space bar up so I let go. Okay, so I can move this up a little bit. Something like that. Control T or Command T on a Mac to free transform. And we'll slide this one down here a little bit onto the elbow. And on the side of the face, we're going to hit enter. Do the same thing with the Polygon Lasso tool. So we're going to hold down our shift key, give us that plus sign because we're going to be adding to this. Come down here a little bit and click here, hit enter, Control I, Command I on the Mac, and deselect. Now we've got these sharp edges on these beams of light. But it looks like a spotlight. So let's deal with those sharp edges. So we go Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and you can see that if it's at 0, we got the sharp edge, but you can see in the preview what it's doing to the mask. It's softening that selection, making it look more like a beam of light. Okay, so just keep moving it over till you get a nice soft transition. Okay, then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a levels adjustment. So we're going to come down here and do levels. And if you come over here, you'll be dragging up a black point. Here you'll be brightening up your midtones, and over here you'll be brightening up your white point. Okay, so I like kind of the way that looks. Looks like that spotlight effect I was looking for. And if it's too much, I can control the amount by adjusting the opacity. So we'll just drop that down a little bit, and then I'll grab a curves tool for a final adjustment, and we'll make a little S curve here. Let me bring this up here so we can see what's going on. Make a little S curve. Okay, so there's our little S. Alright, and I'll back off the opacity on that effect as well. So you can see that it's just a minor adjustment there. So I'll back that off. Maybe I'll something like that. That looks pretty good to me. So there you have it. Beams of light on a behind the scenes photo. Now I could go in and touch up that seam there, but you kind of get the idea. For a tutorial, it's a pretty neat thing to be able to do, is to create beams of light in Photoshop. I want to thank you all for taking time to visit today, and until next time, we'll see you soon.